Hi, folks. Welcome in Seven Rivers Racing, a special program to help kick off the 42nd annual Oktoberfest Racing here in western Wisconsin. I'm Dan Dyker along with Al Losey. Bringing in today, we did a show earlier this year to help try to get the racing season started in western Wisconsin. From Starmaker Multimedia, Dale Danielski joined us and put together a fantastic program of pictures and footage of the history of racing here in western Wisconsin. So we thought, what a better man to bring in to help kick off Oktoberfest Racing, which starts tonight and then tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. Dale's going to be joining us again in the program to show you some incredible things about Oktoberfest and the history behind it. Dale, thanks for joining us.
Well, I appreciate being back.
Well, let's just kick right into this thing. It started way back in 1970. We are in the 42nd season of Oktoberfest Racing, and you brought along a lot of footage again. Let's kind of jump right into things and let you set things up as to where did Oktoberfest Racing come from?
Well, and again, some history is in order here, I guess, to really see how this event has become what it has. And again, it had to start on the dirt, actually. The very first racing in 1957 occurred on dirt. We have some footage of that. We're not seeing that here. This is actually the track at North La Crosse, which actually had the very first Oktoberfest event. And again, like I say, 1957 is when the track opened for dirt, but it was in the early 60s when things really started to go with the pavement, as you can see here at North La Crosse Speedway. And of course, it was a cleaner form of racing. And really, the way it was sold, every event was special. That's the way they were promoted. So you didn't really have an event of the stature of an Oktoberfest because every event was considered special.
Right.
Thrills and spills, the whole bit. And so before Oktoberfest was really even thought about, you had a lot of these other events at different tracks. And this happens to be the first one back in 1970.
This is at the fairgrounds.
This is the first Oktoberfest. And Larry Weirs was behind the effort. They had paved the track earlier in the year, and they decided after the Rockford Speedway had been running their huge national short track championship. That was really the first national in scope event. And I think a lot of these promoters were looking at that and saying, hey, we can do that. You know, we can put on a big show. The fans will love it. We'll get drivers from everywhere. And that's what happened with the very first one in 1970, which was won by Tom Reffner, a pretty well-known name through the years.
Right, right.
And that's really where it began, and it's just gotten bigger every year.
Boy, look at the styles of those cars. Isn't that amazing how they've developed over the years?
Yeah, it's, you know, it was pretty much a stock car. You were selling stock car racing to the public, and they were.
Cadillacs out there, a couple of Chevys, a lot of Chevys.
Everything, every brand name, and this is back when you had a lot of them. You know, you didn't have three major manufacturers. You know, you had pretty much it ran the gamut: Mercury's, Ford's, you could say Cadillac, Chevrolet. You know, it's Edsels. I mean, it's just guys would get these cars out of literally out of the junkyard, the parts, and start from the ground up, right off their garage floor, and you'd have a race car, you know, within a week and go race, and you could be competitive.
Now, Oktoberfest kind of came around on the heels of the National Short Track Championships, which will be coming up at that we just had here at the end of September, early October, down in Rockford. Did this stem from those championships?
Yes, and again, that was the first event that really attracted national attention. The Deary family, as a matter of fact, Hugh Deary, of course Chuck Deary being the manager out at West Salem, La Crosse Fairgrounds, that family began that event, and they held it for many, many years. Hugh passed on, but tradition continues, and they still hold that event every year, and again, that was the first big one.
And of course, Dick Trickle, first ever winner. Was it Dick or was it Walbeck?
Actually, the National Short Track Championship, the very first winner was Dick Trickle. Marlon Walbeck won the second year. And there's a long list of guys that have won that, as there is for Oktoberfest now.
And then you kind of went from Rockford to the Golden Sand Speedway.
Actually, and again, that was one of those tracks that was built in the 60s, and started to have some big events. You know, had more guys racing there. It was a high bank third-mile track, so it had a lot of speed. It was a big attraction. And again, that's a track that held these events, and I think, again, people were looking at this saying, hey, you know, we need to do something special. Every event is special, but at the same time, we're going to put a bunch of money on the line for a purse payout to these drivers, and again, that was another one that started to do that. A track north of here, Black River Falls, was one that, again, in the early 60s, got racing going and on the pavement, and that was getting more and more people involved, and so that really the pavement is what created a lot of the interest, I think. Cleaner former racing, and that happens to be Joe Scheer hitting the wall there. It was not a good day for him, but
I'm noticing some of the numbers here. Of course, it's easy to pick out the 99 of Dick Trickle, but I also noticed number 711 and how back then there was a little more leeway on what kind of number you could have. I remember watching a race out there with somebody who had the pi symbol on the side of his car. You don't see that anymore.
That's pretty amazing, and this happens to be 1971 footage here, and Dick Trickle did win the second Oktoberfest that was ever held at the fairgrounds. And yes, 711, John Breivik. You had a lot of different numbers, letters spelling out words or terms or practically sentences. It was really unique, you know, a lot of times what these guys would come up with. Sure.
All right, need to take a quick break right here. We're going to throw some other numbers your way. How about the 36 of Joe Scheer, the number 5, of course, Mr. Sauter. That number was infamous all over the state of Wisconsin. This is an Oktoberfest Racing Weekend Special. Dale Danielski from Starmaker Multimedia, local historian, joining us on the program. When we return, we're going to show you more fantastic footage. Then we're going to go from how it was created, 1970, from the dirt to the asphalt, to where we are today with the 42nd annual start of Oktoberfest Race Weekend. I'm Dan Diker. Stay with us. More to come here on Seven Rivers Racing on KQEG TV.